Hey, what's up, guys? This is Church of Caboose, and for this video, we're going to talk about my first impressions on the Xbox One Elite controller. This controller has had quite a bit of the oohs and ahs and nice reputation for as long as this controller has been out. And what I mean by that is basically whenever I met someone that was like, yeah, I got the Elite or whatever, blah, 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 here's what I think about it. Everyone's like, ooh, ah, just like those little green Martian dudes from Toy Story. And I now am the proud owner of one of these controllers, thanks to my lovely wife who bought me one as part of the celebration for when one is born. So there you go, I've been through 27 of them. So anyways, I have a controller, and she was like, hey, you could do a video about what you think about it. And I was like, that's a great idea. So here we go. What do I think about this controller after a day-ish of using it? It has been great. The big advantage is you can map different buttons to these paddles. If you're not familiar with these Elite controllers, they are kind of the nice mix between keyboard and controller, because what they are is they're your regular console or Xbox controller, but on the back you got 4 paddles that have like a tiny bit of pressure needed in order to activate it, and then you can use a button, and you can map a button to a paddle. So say I wanted to have sprint be on a paddle, I just take whatever joystick, which I believe is the left joystick, and I just go to my Xbox, I go to settings, and I go down to device and accessories. Then I configure my Xbox, and I go to the very first column, and I'm like, all right, which paddle do I want to have be on as my sprint? And I make that paddle be the new sprint. Then I go to the second column, and I actually select the sprint button, and boom, I can use that paddle in order to sprint. So I can just boop, give it a little tiny little flex of the fingers, the snap, so to speak, and bam, I might get my characters off. And so far from this Elite controller, everything works way more smoothly. Like I can do sprint, slide, sprint without any kind of a pause, which is great on Destiny with those slideways of shotguns. It is a huge advantage over what I was doing before, which is the regular controller. So now I guess that the Elite controller is a crutch. But anyways, that's kind of a real short, like how you map the buttons and why these paddles are really nifty. Now, when you do map these buttons, you don't necessarily get rid of having that button option. So say you want to make reload be a paddle, and you do. So reload is now on a paddle. You can still tap Y and reload your gun, or you can use your paddle. So it's not like you're just completely making that button useless, and if you forget and you try to hit reload or switch weapon or whatever, nothing will happen. No, something will still happen. It's just you also have the option of a paddle, and that has been super nice. Now, what are some of the downsides so far with this controller? Well, the big one is just getting used to the paddles, and my poor teammates in Call of Duty have had to die quite a bit in hardcore, because I'm a dumb bunny and sometimes forget that my paddle is a grenade, or I accidentally twitch my finger and throw a grenade and we all die because I blew up a car. That's been really the biggest downside. Otherwise, there's not much of one. I mean, you have to get used to having to keep maybe your fingers clenched around your controller, because if you do that, then you'll be pushing all your paddles, and then what's the point of having paddles if you're not basically able to use them anyways? So you have to kind of change how you hold your controller just a little bit, and you perhaps might get thrown off by its weight. The controller is a little bit heavier than non-Elite controllers, or at least the one I have is, but not like it's insanely heavier, but it just seemed kind of worth noting, because some people care a lot about things like how heavy something is. But overall, this was a great controller to have. I am very grateful to my wife for getting this for me, so thank you, sweetheart, crazy corgi. And I would totally recommend to you guys to get it if I was to, as I play with this controller more and I change my mind and this is no, don't do it, I'll make sure I update you guys. But in the first day of playing with it, I have really liked it. One of the perhaps biggest advantages is you can control how much vibration your controller does. You don't have to have it on or off like you currently have in game settings. So when you're going through mapping your controller, you'll see on the top right how you have options for joysticks. You can even, so for the joysticks, for example, you can control how fast they respond. Like you can have like a delay when you move your joystick. You can do instant, you can do aggressive. You can just really, really customize how quickly your cursor moves around screen, and as well as how like responsive your triggers are. So the Elite controller, you can put like a little switch, and you're on a hair trigger, it cuts in half how far you have to pull the trigger. And then when you're mapping your controller, you have options to control like the delay of when you pull your trigger. And with my lack of technological background, that's about as detailed as I can get into that. But with the vibration, you can put down like a control. Like if you want to have your controller rocking like a vibrator in your hands, and leave it at the full setting. If you want to have it down just a nice little bzzz, you can really drop it, or you can get rid of it. You can even control a vibration in the triggers, vibrations on the left side, and vibrations on the right side of the controller. Like it's super in detail, so like you can really control your gaming experience with using an Xbox One Elite controller. So I would totally suggest you guys get it or put it on your Christmas list. All right, guys, I am Church of Caboose. I hope this initial impression video helped y'all out. I hope you guys have a great week, a happy holidays, and happy grinding, y'all.